Welcome to Morning Offering with Ron, Dave, and Pat. Live from the Annunciation Radio studios, Morning Offering presents a Catholic way to start your day on the Ave Maria Radio Network.
Well, good morning, and welcome to Tuesday. I can't believe it. Tuesday already? Man, this week is flying by. And, of course, we've got some wonderful guest hosts to join us for their segments today. It is Tuesday, after all, and that means Teresa Tomeo with Vitamin T, and we get to say yes to life with Peter Range, the Senior Fellow for the Center for Christian Virtue, plus a chat with Pat and Dave's Word of the Day coming up, and Matthew Handley to update us on the news. So let us begin our morning offering hour with a morning offering prayer. O Jesus, through the Immaculate Heart of Mary, I offer you my prayers, works, joys, and sufferings of this day for all the intentions of your Sacred Heart, in union with the holy sacrifice of the Mass throughout the world, for the salvation of souls, the reparation of sins, the reunion of all Christians, and in particular for the intentions of the Holy Father this month. Amen. Well, on our way to a great day, let's get started with Matthew Handley and a look at the latest news. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, Ron, and good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, August 4th. Here's what's happening. The massive wildfires in Spokane, Washington are being called one of the worst natural disasters that region has ever seen. Officials said more than 700 structures have been destroyed in the area, but the full extent of the damage is not yet known. The wildfires are 0% contained. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson has already declared a statewide emergency and said FEMA is sending resources to help residents ahead of official approval from the president. President Donald Trump says he wants to give Iran every last chance before, quote, decapitation. Speaking to reporters at the White House on Monday, Trump said many other Middle East countries have called, along with Iran, and urged Trump to hold off on planned massive strikes and let talks continue. His comments come as Iran publicly says it has no plans to engage in talks with the U.S. Voters will head to the polls today for another big primary election day in America. Ballots are being cast in Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Virginia, and Washington state. Michigan's Democratic U.S. Senate race is the main event, pitting insurgent progressive Abdul El-Sayed against establishment-backed Congresswoman Haley Stevens. The race has divided the party, with fears within the DNC that an El-Sayed victory would pull the party further left and hurt their midterm hopes to regain control of the House and Senate. Sticking with Michigan, the state has dropped its effort to muzzle Catholic counselors working with individuals struggling with their biological sex and has agreed to a permanent court order protecting talk therapy. In Catholic Charities v. Whitmer, Catholic counselors challenged a law banning so-called conversion therapy, saying it violated their First Amendment rights by limiting their speech in the private practice. Last year, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit ruled that Michigan's law likely violated the Constitution. Later, the Supreme Court ruled against a nearly identical Colorado law. And a new battle line is being drawn over vaccine mandates in Florida. Attorney General James Utmeyer announced on X that he has sent a formal letter to the Florida Conference of Catholic Bishops. Utmeyer criticized Catholic schools for refusing to offer religious exemptions by following a position from the National Catholic Bioethics Center. The Attorney General warned that the refusal to honor state opt-outs could carry massive financial consequences, potentially disqualifying church-run schools for millions of dollars in state scholarships and vouchers. FCCB spokeswoman Michelle Taylor told CBS News, quote, "Be assured, Florida's Catholic schools are operating in accord with the law and church teaching. Under state law, students attending both public and private schools must be vaccinated against diseases, including polio, chickenpox, and measles." I'm Matthew Handley, and Ron Finn. That is the news this morning.
Well, thank you very much, Matthew. Appreciate that. So much in the news at all times, and it's amazing how much Matthew can cover in like 3 minutes' time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes my head spin, yes.
Yeah.
You know, we are always scouring the Catholic news sites looking for these courageous, incredible men and women of God doing fabulous things. And one of them, Father Mike Metz, and not only what he did, but the way that he celebrated it. So Father Mike Metz posted on Facebook on July the 6th that the St. Michael the Archangel Catholic community at Fort Bragg, North Carolina was alive and well. He had celebrated, as he proclaimed, 7 sacraments in one day. And his explanation of it is fabulous. And the way he lays it out, of course, how the sacraments came about for that day, the 7th, the holy orders, being the fact that he himself was celebrating the gift of holy orders, but all of the other 6 sacraments he actually performed on that day.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, yeah. And his exuberance over it. That's what I love. Yeah, yeah.
I love the quote. I felt like a big leaguer hitting a grand slam, celebrating all of those sacraments in one day. I mean, that is so exciting. And, you know, as I was reading and I was thinking, there have been times I think I've experienced that, you know, in a parish that I worked at. And I never saw it with the exuberance that he did.
Right,
I mean, that was, I love that. And I think that the appreciation, right, of the sacraments are sometimes underestimated. I mean, it's like a given. Well, we're in church.
Yeah.
You know, but I think I love his enthusiasm because it really shows what we should be about when we're celebrating these sacraments, right? And so he celebrated the sacraments of baptism, first communion, and confirmation for a man who was raised Mormon and read his way into Catholicism, right?
Yeah.
And then he convalidated their marriage. That was the 4th sacrament, you know, and so he heard confessions 45 minutes before Mass. He baptized 5 other infants at the base. And then he anointed a male volunteer at the church who has cancer and was going in for surgery. So, I mean, and when people, you know, and to me, I look at this and I say, this is the gift of priesthood, right?
Amen. Yeah.
I mean, you know, how can you not look at that and go, oh my gosh, you know, I have to discern whether the Lord is calling me to this, right? As a young man, I think this is such an amazing, amazing thing. And so I just, sometimes again, I think we think of the priest as, you know, and I feel bad because a lot of times they're the administrator, right, of the parish in a sense. That they've got to take care of all this worldly stuff. But this really is their call. You know, that this is the grace they're given. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think simply for me, I look at it as one spouse loving the other spouse.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The priest has married us, the body of Christ.
Yes.
He is loving on them, and it looks like the community is loving back.
Oh,
and
my
I just
gosh,
gotta love
I
that.
know. This is a Fort Bragg. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, we've still got people that claim to be Catholic but aren't in the pews, you know. So they're working hard, I think. It's
gotta
wonderful.
love it.
Yeah.
Just amazing. 7 sacraments, one day. Father Mike, what a joy. What a joy. I know that story was in the Register. It's also in Alatia. So if you want to check that out, you can see the pictures of him beaming, you know.
Yes.
I mean, it's just really cool.
It's great.
It is time to turn to Scripture and Dave's word of the day for today.
Our word for today is touched, taken from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 14. We see in verse 36, people brought to him all those who were sick and begged him that they might touch only the tassel on his cloak, and as many as touched it were healed. Well, what does this tell us? It doesn't say as many as touched him or as many as he touched. No, it says as many as touched the tassel on his cloak were healed. The Lord God's desire is to bring us fullness, brothers and sisters. His desire is to heal us. His desire is to speak to that brokenness within us, those wounds within us. Yes, some self-inflicted, but he is not mindful of that. He's only mindful of wanting to touch us, to bring us back to wholeness in him, and that we might cling to him and know that he is our source of healing. We see earlier in this Gospel of Matthew chapter 14, Jesus had just fed the crowd of 5,000 with the 5 barley loaves and the 2 fish. So Jesus made his disciples get into a boat after that and proceed him to the other side of the sea while he dismissed the crowds. After doing so, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray, and when it was evening, he was there alone. What is he doing? He knows too that he needs that touch. So he's with his Father, communicating with him, being in relationship with him, receiving that touch from him that he himself needs, that he might go out and minister to all those that he is called to minister to. When the disciples, then he sent, again, we see at the beginning of this reading that he has sent the disciples into a boat to proceed them to the other side. And we know what happens. They're out in the middle of the sea, and there's this great storm. And we can almost tell the time of day. Jesus had performed this miracle, and then we see that he's praying by himself a little later in the evening. Then we're told that the disciples encounter him as they're in the boat in the middle of the storm in the fourth watch of the night. That's between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. They have been enduring this storm for quite some time now. They've been in the middle of this storm for hour upon hour, wondering if they were even going to survive the thing. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and they cried out in fear. And at once Jesus spoke to them. Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid. Peter said to him in reply, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. He said, come. But when he saw how strong the wind was, he became frightened. And beginning to sink, he cried out, Lord, save me. Immediately, Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, O you of little faith, why did you doubt? What did he do? He touched him. Jesus said, Lord, save me. And Jesus reached out and grabbed him, right? So he touched him. He made himself present to him. He made his physical presence present to him. He used that body that he had taken on to save us to pull Peter up from sinking from that water. Yes, he brought him healing through his touch. He wants to do the same with us, brothers and sisters. And like Peter, sometimes we have to cry out, Lord, save me. Lord, save me. There's no other way that this is going to work unless you intervene on my behalf. Will you please save me in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the struggle? Will you reach out your hand and save me as well through your divine touch? Touched, our word for today.
Oh, man. Yeah, what a thrill. I mean, these adventure stories that we see, that it really, they draw us all closer. It feels like I'm right there in the boat with these apostles, you know?
Yeah. And I think, isn't that what we all pray for, is that we are touched by the grace of God in our lives, that when we're struggling, and not just when we're struggling, but I mean, it certainly comes up more, I think, when we're struggling.
We're certainly more aware of it, yeah.
Right, that touch of Christ in our life.
All right, a little vitamin T, Teresa Tomeo coming up in moments right here on Morning Offering. We will be right back. Underwriting on Annunciation Radio provided by Isabel Financial Services at 2346 North Reynolds Road in Toledo. They offer professional guidance for new and existing businesses, key person life and disability insurance, financial planning and 401k plans, investment strategies, and more. You can reach them at 419-535-1236. Securities offered through Sigma Financial Corporation, member of FINRA SIPC. Isabel Financial Services is independent of Sigma Financial Corporation.
Catholics acknowledge the papal authority of Peter through Jesus' threefold blessing over Peter in Matthew 16, verses 15 to 19. Jesus gives Peter a new name, Rock, upon which he will build his church, and gives Peter the keys to the kingdom, quoting nearly verbatim from Isaiah 22, verse 22. Yet Protestants claim, by getting behind the English to the Greek, that Jesus was the Petra, or large stone, and Peter was a mere Petros, or little pebble in Greek. However, when you get behind the Greek to the Aramaic, the language that Jesus and the apostles spoke, Jesus says in both places, "You are Kepha," Aramaic for rock, "and on this Kepha I will build my church." 4 times in Galatians and 4 times in 1 Corinthians, Paul preserves Peter's new Aramaic name by calling him Kepha. Examining the truths of the Catholic faith, this is faithforensics.org.
When you think about your child's school, what comes to mind? Good teachers? A supportive community? That's what we deliver with Partnership Schools.
I love my school because it makes me proud of myself. For me, it's the sense of community that Partnership Schools gives me and my kids.
We are Catholic pre-K through 8th grade schools welcoming families of all faiths that allow you to pay nothing for quality private education. To learn more and to apply, visit thepartnershipschools.org.
Welcome to Morning Offering with Ron, Dave, and Pat. Live from the Annunciation Radio studios, Morning Offering presents a Catholic way to start your day on the Ave Maria Radio Network.
On this wonderful feast of St. John Vianney today, so we certainly celebrate each and every one of our priests, and what a wonderful patron for our priests as well. Morning Offering on Tuesday with a lot to go yet. In fact, a little Tuesday trivia. Dave is going to try to stump us in a little while. We're going to say yes to life. Peter Range will be joining us and a chat with Pat. Pat, who's your guest today?
Oh, gee. I knew I should be ready with that, shouldn't I?
You have a guest, I know that.
Yes, we do. He has been on before, and just an excellent, John Melnikoff. It's a great article. It's called Seeking Absolution from the Crowd, Confessions in the Age of Algorithm. Confession. Whoa. Yeah. This is an interesting article. I loved it, so I can't wait to talk to him about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah.
And, of course, we always look forward to this conversation, a little vitamin T. Teresa Tomeo joining us right now. And, Teresa, of course, you're celebrating wherever you are. And, boy, oh, boy, we get to celebrate St. Francis once again, don't we?
Yes, we do. Good morning. I'm back in the States. We arrived... I think you were on with me. I was on with you last week, but I arrived in the States on July 20th. So we're here until the middle of September. But this is a really big week, and it's so exciting because the Holy Father will be meeting with the young people. There's a conference going on in Assisi right now, and he will be there on Thursday, August 6th. And there's going to be a big celebration centered around the Porciuncula, or Little Portion Church, in Santa Maria d'Angeli, which is, of course, below the city of Assisi. It's a separate city all its own, but it's such an important place in the life of St. Francis, and there's so much that happened at St. Mary of the Angels. And I just hope people will do two things. Go to my series. I have a whole segment on this church and on the Porciuncula. So go to EWTN.com/St. Francis. It's a free 8-part series on the life of St. Francis. And also, if you make a small donation, you can get a copy of my book, Volume 2 of Italy Shrines of Wonders, which, of course, is all about St. Francis of Assisi. So what's really cool is I'm watching all this coverage on the Vatican, and I know a lot of the priests now because we've spent so much time in Assisi. We go to Mass there on Sundays, the English Mass. I've done interviews with the priests. And so Friar Luca is one of the big ones being interviewed because he's involved with the young people. So it's just really beautiful to see so much attention paid on this church, because oftentimes, and I think I've mentioned it to you before, guys, people will come to Assisi and they'll go right up to Assisi and fly past St. Mary of the Angels, which is really a big mistake because it's such an important church.
So Teresa, is and I'm going to probably say this wrong, Porciuncula, is that the same thing as St. Mary's of the Angels Church? Or
it is inside. It's a little church inside St. Mary of the Angels. So the minute you walk inside the main area of St. Mary of the Angels, your eyes are drawn to the Little Portion Church. So it sits right in the middle. And then behind it, of course, is the main altar of the basilica. So you can actually walk up and go through it and then go around to the main altar, or go over to the side where you see the Chapel of the Transit, where St. Francis passed away 800 years ago. And then behind that is the Rose Garden, where he threw himself into the roses to avoid temptation. And those roses, there's this particular type of rose that only blooms there in Assisi and has no thorns. So it's just a beautiful church. The artwork is off the charts. And when you come to see it, when you go into the main piazza, he's going to be gathering with them for Mass after he goes inside the church to the Porciuncula. He's going to be gathering in the piazza in front of the church. But if you look up, there's this beautiful statue of the Blessed Mother, the Mother of the Angels, St. Mary of the Angels. So It's such a gorgeous place, and I'm so excited there's so much emphasis on this church this week.
We get swallowed up in these beautiful basilicas and these large churches and so forth, but to be standing in a Little Portion Church, I would imagine you really get a sense of intimacy.
You do. Only about 20 to 25 people can sit inside or pray inside comfortably, and the artwork in the Porciuncula is stunning. Now, it was actually gifted to St. Francis and the Friars Minor when they moved there from Rivitorto by the Benedictine monks. And it has been rebuilt, and it was rebuilt by the very hands of St. Francis. When the Lord spoke to him from the San Damiano cross up in the convent outside Assisi, he said, rebuild my church, because as you can see, it's in ruins. Many people thought he misunderstood and started rebuilding churches because he thought the Lord meant physically. But the Lord meant it both physically and spiritually. And he actually rebuilt 3 different churches in that area of Italy and Umbria. And the Portiuncula was one of them. San Pietro in Rivatorta was another. And San Damiano, where the cross originally was hanging before it was moved to St. Clare of Assisi's Basilica in Assisi. Those are 3 of the churches that he actually rebuilt. When he had his conversion, he would go around, he would beg for money to repair the churches because he was so Eucharistic. He loved the Lord so much, and he wanted the churches to be in the proper shape to celebrate the highest form of prayer, which is the Mass. So I'm really excited because there's so much about St. Francis that people bypass, and they think of Assisi, they think of St. Francis, and they only think of Assisi, and they don't pay much attention to St. Mary of the Angels or Spoleto or Gubbio or the other cities that I highlight in the book that are associated with his amazing life.
Well, I think it's interesting, Teresa, because it appears, and I could be wrong, but in our country, it appears that we have a big focus on the Portiuncula, because I know at Lourdes we have one. There's a parish in our diocese that has one. And yet to hear you say that people kind of, walk by St. Mary of the Angels where this is, where the original is, kind of surprises me. Is there, don't people know what's in there, or isn't it as important as what it is in our country?
I think there's people are very busy. I think the problem, Pat, is that they may be aware of it, but if they're on a limited time frame when they go to their pilgrimage in Assisi, you have to really make a designated stop. It's a very large basilica. It's massive, but it's absolutely stunning. And so you do have to find a parking space if you're on your own. If you're on a pilgrimage bus, you have to park the bus in a special location, walk across the street, and go in on a guided tour. I think if you have a limited amount of time, a lot of groups will just go up to Assisi because you have so much to see there. San Rufino, St. Clare's Church, St. Mary Major for Carlo Acutis, San Francesco, and then they leave, and they may stop and go to, jump inside St. Mary of the Angels for a few minutes on the way out. But I really hope that people, by reading my book and hopefully listening to us, and you're so familiar with the importance of the Portiuncula, that if they do have a plan to go to Assisi, to make a really dedicated amount of time for it. Don't just run in, say a prayer in the Portiuncula, and leave. Pray there, go to the Chapel of the Transit, spend some time, and think about this is where St. Francis actually gave the habit to St. Clare. There's so much that happened here. The Friars Minor began there. It's such an important center of the life of St. Francis.
Yeah, and you point that out so well in your book, the second edition of Italy, Shrines and Wonders, too, that you really do need to plan enough time and don't be rushing from place to place. You don't want to miss anything. You want to immerse yourself in all of it.
Yeah, especially this year because we're celebrating 800 years of the passing of St. Francis. So even if you can't get there, that's why we did the series. The series is so beautifully filmed, right on location. And the segment that I talked about today is probably one of our longest ones on St. Mary of the Angels and the Portiuncula. So people can download it for free, ewtn.com/St. Francis. I mean, go on an armchair pilgrimage as we get closer to this anniversary of St. Francis. Even if you're not going to have any plans to get overseas anytime soon, check out the book, check out the series. It's so easy to just at your own comfort level to absorb this. And especially as we're still in these beautiful summer months in the Midwest, which will soon be waning, as we all know, right?
Yeah.
You maybe sit outside in the garden with your phone or your St. Francis book and look around and think about what he gave to us in the world. I've grown to love him so much more. I thought I knew him. Now I know him much better, having living there part-time for 4 years and really just being in all the places where he lived and grew the faith.
Well, Teresa, I would suspect with Carlo Acutis, St. Carlo Acutis, his body being in Assisi, that is a real draw also. So can you kind of give us a look at now, where is that at in regards to the Church of St. Mary of the Angels? What's the location?
Sure. So St. Mary of the Angels is below in a separate city, St. Mary de Angeli. And the main basilicas, including St. Mary Major of Carlo Acutis, St. Clare, where St. Clare is buried, and St. Francis, where he's buried, are all in Assisi proper on top of Mount Subasio.
Okay, great. Thank you. That gives me a...
You're welcome. Thank you.
And of course, if since Teresa is you're stateside, so I mean anybody who's visiting Italy now, I assume you leave your door open. We can go in and raid the fridge.
That's right. Have
Go
a
ahead,
glass of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck finding it. It's in the middle of the country, but it's a little village. But go ahead.
Vitamin T. Teresa Tomeo, thanks so much.
Thanks, Teresa.
Now, talk to you next week.
A recent study was done of teens to see if they could handle being without their screens. The people conducting the study agreed to pull the plug if it got dangerous. The results? Quote, only 3 reached the end of the experiment. 3 had suicidal thoughts, 5 experienced intense panic attacks, 27 had symptoms like nausea, sweating, dizziness, hot flashes, and abdominal pain. Almost everyone had feelings of fear and anxiety. We've all heard the myth that some people are great multitaskers. Not true. Studies have shown that the more things you do at one time, the more you stink at doing all of them. Our brains only have so much bandwidth. If your attention is drawn to a screen, that means it's being drawn away from life all around you. Here's my screen detox challenge. Unplug it every meal and every Sunday. You'll survive. If you don't get disciplined about unplugging a little, those screens can go from a blessing to an addiction faster than you can say Apple. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com.
Shop with a purpose at your St. Vincent de Paul Toledo thrift store, now located in the Airport Square Shopping Center, right next to Pet Supplies Plus at Airport and Reynolds. Shop and save on a huge selection of quality, gently used clothing, housewares, and lots of unique finds. Every purchase helps us help our neighbors in need. We welcome your donations of clothing and other items. The St. Vincent de Paul Toledo thrift store, Airport at Reynolds, open for you Monday through Saturday.
Courage, an apostolate of the Catholic Church, ministers to persons with same-sex attractions and their loved ones. They also have an outreach called Encourage, which ministers to relatives, spouses, and friends of persons with same-sex attractions. Endorsed by the Pontifical Council for the Family, our beloved John Paul II said of this ministry, "Courage is doing the work of God." Please visit the Courage website, couragerc.org, to learn more and find a Courage chapter near you.
Welcome to Morning Offering with Ron, Dave, and Pat. Live from the Annunciation Radio studios, Morning Offering presents a Catholic way to start your day on the Ave Maria Radio Network.
Well, good morning and welcome to Tuesday. So glad you are with us. Ron Finn, Dave Vacherus, Pat Odie Murray here. And as we're talking about a little bit earlier about a premiere that's coming up on Sunday on Prime Video, it's The Chosen in the Wild with Bear Grylls. And, of course, we're always watching Bear Grylls and we're always watching The Chosen. Why not put these two together, right?
I love the idea. And this interview was with Bear Grylls himself. And his comments about the time he spent with Jonathan Roumie. And he said that particular episode where he and Jonathan Roumie have a conversation. Jonathan Roumie, of course, the one who played Jesus in The Chosen. He said it will forever remain with him. It's the most important episode that he thinks he's ever been a part of. So, gotta love that. Can't wait to hear that conversation between Jesus TV Jesus, Jonathan Roumie, and Bear Grylls. So
everybody jumping out of airplanes and parachuting and climbing stuff. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a challenge there.
Yeah. And look, again, it's just this idea. Amazon Prime, it's just this idea that conversation of the faith is going everywhere in all of these different venues. Always a good thing. Also, always a good thing. It's time for Tuesday Trivia. I know you're all excited for it.
All right.
And I've got this first trivia question for you. 3 opportunities, question with 3 possible answers. And I'm right off the bat going to tell you, on this first question, I invite you to phone a friend, bring in a friend, and the friend that I want you to bring in is Producer Sean. Producer Sean, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask this question, and you can feel free to help out your father, Mr. Ron Finn, and Pat Odie Murray. What does the HTTP in a website address stand for?
Oh.
What does the HTTP in a website address stand for? And here are the 3 possible answers. Hypertext Transfer Protocol, High Transfer Text Process, Host Transfer Terminal Protocol.
I can help you guys out.
Oh, there you go.
I'll let you come to it, right?
I think it's the third one. Don't ask me to repeat it. But, Sean, I'm clueless. I'm just trying to piece together. So what do you...
Mr.
Ron, do you have
Ronfin,
a
any
guess?
thought? Yeah.
I think it's
Ron?
the hypertext something protocol. The first one you mentioned.
Hypertext transfer
Now watch,
protocol is
Ron.
the first.
It's the second
Yeah.
one, right,
High
Sean?
transfer text process or host transfer terminal protocol. But I think Mr. Sean Finn knows the answer
Sean,
to this one.
what is it?
It's that first one. Hypertext Transport Protocol.
Ron,
Yeah,
woo!
yeah.
All
Way to
right.
go with phoning a friend on that one.
Yes,
Producer
I'm-
Sean got a
All
point
right,
for
thank
both
you,
of you.
Sean.
Hypertext
Thank you,
transfer
Sean.
protocol, HTTP. Who doesn't know that?
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I don't get
I
on my
wouldn't have had it.
computer without thinking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't have had a
Yeah.
clue.
Soup of tech.
Stands for How to Trust People.
Yeah, there you go. Which country, question number 2, which country is credited with inventing pizza in its modern form? Which country is credited with inventing pizza in its modern form? Was that France, Italy, or Spain? Which of those countries created the pizza we have all come to know and love?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I love pizza, but I'm not sure about this one.
I mean, to me, the obvious answer is Italy, right? But because it's so obvious, I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Ron?
It's France, Italy, and
Spain.
And Spain.
Yep.
What do you mean by modern?
The pizza that we're familiar with. Yeah. The
So, I mean,
yeah.
cheese on pizza, I guess France makes sense. I think the least likely one is Spain, and therefore that is my answer is Spain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who invented it, but I know when I was in Italy, their pizza was, I mean, it kind of is like ours. It's better than ours, but because everything's fresh. I have not a clue.
What does your gut say, Pat?
Boy, my gut is out to lunch this morning.
Thinking about
my
pizza.
gut is ready
It
for
is.
lunch.
It is. I don't know, man. I'll just agree with Ron.
Okay, well, Italy is the answer. The
It
obvious
is. I
answer.
should have stuck with it.
Modern
Okay.
pizza emerged in Naples, Italy between the late 1700s and mid 1800s, evolving from simple flatbread sold by street vendors to the round baked dish topped with with tomatoes, cheese, and other ingredients.
Okay.
That's how it became the pizza
love it.
that we all know and love. All
I
right,
am.
what?
I am so glad that Teresa Tommy was not on. Now she'd slap me in the back of the head.
I know. And me for agreeing
Yeah.
with you when I said it's probably Italy. Yeah, and then I didn't go with it.
What is the question number 3? 1 point each right now. What is the fastest land animal in the world? What is the fastest land animal in the world? Is it a lion, a cheetah, or a greyhound? And that's not the bus, by the way, 'cause
Oh,
that
okay,
thing can
good.
barely go 55 on the highway.
Yeah.
Don't get behind one.
I know.
The greyhound, the dog variety. Lion, cheetah, or greyhound?
I thought I read at the zoo that the cheetah was the fastest animal. I'm going to go with cheetah.
I'm surprised Jaguar is not on the list. Lion, cheetah. What was the other one?
Greyhound.
Greyhound, yeah. I'll go Greyhound.
And Pat gets the bell because she's a cheetah. She went to the
I went to the zoo.
and found out.
Ah.
Cheetahs go 75 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Lions
Ow.
50. Greyhounds 45. Now compare that to the world's fastest human, Usain Bolt, 28 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So
meet
we're
me
not-
mid-lunch.
Yeah,
Meet
we're
me
not getting
mid-lunch.
anywhere
Yeah.
close to that. And to your point, Ron, the Jaguar beats them all because that thing will go 0 to 160 in like 9 seconds. So, but
Hey,
not
you got
included.
$300,000 to drop. Why
Yeah,
not?
there you
Right.
go. That's 2 points for Pat, 1 point for Ron. We still have a bonus question to go. Sushi originated in which country? China, Thailand, or Japan?
Ooh,
Sean, what do you think?
I think that's Japan, isn't it?
that's what I thought.
In sushi, Japan, China, Japan.
Thailand. I'm going
Thailand.
Japan because I'm going to go with the obvious again. in
These
my
two are
mind.
going Japan, which is probably right. I'm going to go Taiwan.
China,
Wait a minute,
Thailand, or Japan?
Yeah, why would I go that?
You can go Taiwan.
You can
but
go
it wasn't
Taiwan
one of
if
the
you want.
answers, Ron.
If I'm going to be wrong, I might as well be wrong
Might as
all
well
the
go
way.
way off the
Go all the way. That's right.
All right, I don't think it's Thailand. I really don't. China.
And why would you say obviously Japan? Why is that obvious, Pat?
Because usually when I have sushi, it is at a Japanese restaurant.
Well,
I've never
sushi is
had
exactly.
it at
I mean, Japan is exactly right. Except in Japan, they don't have a lot of sushi anymore.
Isn't that
in the country.
interesting?
But they
Yeah.
are the originator of it. Nicely done.
Interesting.
3 points.
I've never had it at a Chinese
Congrats,
restaurant.
Pat.
Hey.
Hi, my name is Ashley Makoviak. I'm from Republic, Ohio, and I'm listening to Annunciation Radio.
Join me, Shane Stanfield, and Ron Finn on Annunciation Radio's Faith with Reasons, Wednesday at 4 p.m.
Father David Kidd, Director of Diocesan Priestly Vocations for the Diocese of Toledo, joins us for our next show. Annunciation Radio would like to thank and acknowledge the law firm of Klein, Cook, and Weisenberger, located on Route 20 in Perrysburg, for underwriting a portion of our programming today. The firm specializes in estate planning, with a focus on simplifying estate plans to keep costs down and avoid probate when possible. You may reach Matt Weisenberger at 419-321-6444, online at ccw-law.com. Thank you for supporting Annunciation Radio.
Are you or someone you know hurting from a past abortion? Contact Project Rachel for confidential help in starting your healing journey. Please call 419-260-5811 or visit hopeafterabortion.org. God's mercy is abundant and waiting for you. Project Rachel is here to offer confidential help on your journey to healing.
We invite you to join us each weekday at 3 p.m. here on Annunciation Radio for our Hour of Grace and Mercy. We begin first with the praying of the Divine Mercy Chaplet. Following that, we have Mass from Rosary Cathedral. This is an invitation to set some time apart in prayer and reflection with us, your friends here at Annunciation Radio, for this Hour of Grace and Mercy. Share your prayer requests with us at chapletprayer@gmail.com.
Welcome to Morning Offering with Ron, Dave, and Pat. Live from the Annunciation Radio studios, Morning Offering presents a Catholic way to start your day on the Ave Maria Radio Network.
On this fabulous feast day today of the worldwide patron saint of parish priests, the feast of St. John Vianney today. Just a couple of, quick facts about John Vianney. He was poorly schooled. He was horrible at Latin, so it was not an easy road to the priesthood. Went on to be a parish priest and served in that role for 40 years, and he spent as many as 12 to 16 hours a day preaching and hearing confessions. And I didn't know this about him, but his few hours of sleep that he got every night, often filled with torments of the devil.
Yeah.
But he never stopped ministering to others, had the gift of discernment of spirits, hidden knowledge, and of working miracles. And he was named the worldwide patron of parish priests by Pope Pius XI in 1929. So happy feast day, really, to all of our wonderful priests.
Yeah, he was amazing. I mean, like, he would only get 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
And then the devil would even bother him during that time.
Yeah, wouldn't let him go. My goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And again, we had our conversation about Father Mike Metz earlier, just a celebration of the priesthood. Obviously, we have a great history of that. So many men giving their lives for that particular call in service of all of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right now, a man who serves us all, serves the body of Christ in a particular way in the area of life. And we are ready for our conversation with Peter Range. Say yes to life. Good morning, Peter.
Hi, Pete.
Hey, good morning, guys. Well, you know, I'm up about 2 to 3 hours every night, but it's my kids that are bothering me.
Yeah.
I'll take my kids over the devil any day because, you know, the devil actually, at one point, lit the Cure of Ars bed on fire. St. John Vianney, he really had a tough row of it. But the devil actually told John Vianney one time, St. John Vianney, that if there were 3 priests like you, my kingdom would be ruined. And that's because, the village of Ars, France, is about 230 people. Well, 80,000 would come each year to just go to confession to him. I mean, the man was prolific and saved 80,000 souls from the devil in confession. So no wonder the devil was after him. But with that being said, guys, 2 stories that I'm following, and this is heartbreaking, but, it's a good reminder, and it's good that we go to St. John Vianney. Actually, I pray different saints over each one of my kids to protect them during the evening, and I actually pray for St. John Vianney's protection for myself during the evening, knowing that, he battled the devil at nighttime. But, he was told that he was just too dumb to be a priest, as you were reading, Ron, that, he couldn't read Latin and so on and so forth. So, if that's a good reminder for each one of us that no matter our situation in life, if we just give our lives to Christ, Christ can do beyond what we could ask or imagine, including kind of in this pro-life fight. And it's needed now more than ever, because last week, while we were gone, there was kind of breaking news in the pro-life movement. Students for Life published a study about abortion in our drinking water. So the research was published in the medical journal of JAHM. That's the Journal of Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine. Now, this is peer-reviewed research, and it comes on the backs of past research that's shown that endocrine-disrupting compounds, or what's known as EDCs, and those include steroid hormones, synthetic estrogens, progestins. Those are all found in oral contraceptives. Those have been present in water supplies. So there's been previous studies that have shown that contraceptives are present in our water supplies. And that's an environmental, that's a health concern, especially given the widespread use of contraceptives. But this particular study wanted to see if mifepristone, which is the abortion-inducing drug, could that be detected in our water sources. So water samples were collected from sites upstream and downstream of water treatment facilities and from municipal tap water as well. And that's from 3 American cities. Those were Austin, Texas, Blacksburg, Virginia, and Carbondale, Illinois. So a pretty wide sample there from Texas, Virginia, and Illinois. Now, the water in the upstream locations doesn't contain untreated sewage. In all 3 cities, municipal sewage water is routinely directed to the water treatment facilities and then discharged to environmental water after treatment. Now, the findings were striking, to say the least. There were significant levels of mifepristone in the water of all but 1 of the 9 sampling classes. So 8 out of the 9, high levels of mifepristone. And the actual levels here, so the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, they set the enforceable maximum containment levels at 4.0 parts per trillion for forever chemicals, including the chemicals that we're talking about in mifepristone. The SFLA study found that mifepristone was up to 41 parts per trillion. 41 parts per trillion, and the normal level is 4.0 parts per trillion. So it's abundantly beyond any testing levels the EPA says is at safe levels. And, I think I may have mentioned this on the show before, but I was reflecting upon this, again, giving this recent study. You go all the way back to Exodus chapter 32, verse 20, when Moses destroys the golden calf that the Israelites had made. And one of the things that he does with the golden calf is he makes the Israelites grind it into fine powder, scatters the dust over water, and then he forces the people of Israel to drink it as a consequence of their sin. And today, all of us, I think, are suffering the consequences of worshiping our own golden calf. The right to choose, the right to do what we want to do with our own bodies, which has led to the deaths of millions of babies. And now the idol, is part of the water that we're drinking as a culture and society. And so it's time for all of us to kind of wake up and get engaged, more active in the pro-life movement. Contact your senators. Today you can go to abortioncrimebymail.com and let your senators and congressmen know that you want them to do something about this abortion pill. That's abortioncrimebymail.com. All right, the second thing that I just wanted to shortly today as a reminder of why we need to be engaged in this too. You know, the tremendous gift of children who have Down syndrome is a gift for each and every one of us. They remind us of the gift of life, not based upon what it can do or can't do, but just based upon what it is, made in God's image and likeness. In an old study back from 2022 just resurfaced, and it showed that this prenatal testing that we do, the NIPT, the non-invasive prenatal testing, has led to 67% of babies in our country diagnosed with Down syndrome being aborted in the United States. 67% of kids with Down syndrome. And that number is even higher in other nations. In Great Britain, it's 87% of kids diagnosed with Down syndrome being aborted. And then, of course, you have, you know, other places like Iceland, where you have the near eradication of Down syndrome babies in that island nation as well. So, my goodness, do we need John Vianney's today?
Boy.
Priests, deacons, lay people, to preach from the rooftops, from the pulpits, from your work coolers, wherever it's at, about the dignity and value of human life. So St. John Vianney, please intercede for us and frighten that devil back to hell. We need you now.
Amen.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking that is going to probably cause more infertility in women, which then means
That's
in
right.
vitro, which then means, I mean, all this stuff. Boy, it just boggles the mind what we've gotten ourselves into.
Pete Range, host
Thanks,
of Say
Pete.
Yes to Life. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
Bye-bye.
This is Dale Ahlquist with a Chesterton Minute. Money, sex, power. They're all endlessly enticing, but never fulfilling. They always lead to a dead end. Materialism cannot satisfy, pleasure loses its pleasure, and most people figure that out, and in desperation, they look anywhere for help, except to the church. They look to Eastern philosophies, to spiritualism, to strange new religions, but there's only one answer to their eternal questions. They deny it, they dance around it, they run from it, but they won't try the one thing that works. They won't try it because they know what it costs. Everything. It means taking up your cross and following Jesus in all things. G.K. Chesterton says, "The Christian ideal has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried." Want more than a minute? Chesterton.org.
Welcome to Morning Offering with Ron, Dave, and Pat. Live from the Annunciation Radio studios, Morning Offering presents a Catholic way to start your day on the Ave Maria Radio Network.
Of course, this Feast of St. John Vianney, and this afternoon on Ave Maria in the afternoon, Dr. Marcus Peter welcomes Dr. Daniel Lendman, who's the Assistant Professor of Theology from Ave Maria University. They're going to be talking about the Feast of St. John Vianney and the meaning of the priesthood. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern, so make sure you're tuned in for that right here.
Love that. Always a wonderful program. Sounds particularly wonderful today. Another wonderful thing that happens each and every day here on Morning Offering. It's time for a Chat with Pat.
Oh, and today we have John Melnikoff with us. He's been on before. He's a theology teacher based in Connecticut. He has a BA in Religious Studies from Fairfield and an MA in Christian Leadership from Liberty. Active parishioner at St. Jude's in Monroe, Connecticut. A regular contributor to the Catholic Exchange. This article was in Crisis Magazine. John, welcome, and I must thank you for this article. This has been on my mind for a while. I was so glad to see somebody write about it. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I've been looking forward to speaking with you again.
Yeah, this is a great article called Seeking Absolution from the Crowd, Confession in the Age of Algorithm. And John, there are so many wonderful quotes in this article from you, but I want to pull out a couple and then get you to kind of delve in a little bit, because in this article, you're talking that we've got kind of a younger generation, and I would say just not younger, but it's more about likes than sin.
Mm-hmm.
And also you say it's not about moral discussion and truth and honesty on social media, but validation from our society.
Right.
I take it that is why you wrote this article, to delve into those things. But can you give us a little more insight here into this article?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So as a high school teacher, I see this on the front lines of my profession every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes it'll come in the form of, I'm watching a couple of kids, they're laughing at something, and I'll sort of pick their brain a little bit, and after some prying, it'll come out that one of them maybe, or one of their friends has posted something, that probably shouldn't have been posted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first step. And then there's this sort of snowball down the hill kind of reaction, and then the person realized they probably shouldn't have posted it. And this actually happened a couple times last year. And I don't want to get too deep into their personal lives. That's for their parents. But the resolution always seems to be them returning to the same medium where they, whatever their social media platform is, if they posted their goofiness, to post their mea culpa there.
Uh-huh.
And what's interesting about that is, in the Catholic school where we have Lenten confession campaigns and Advent confession campaigns, the chapel is packed with kids seeking confession.
Yeah.
So it's not like this generation, the younger generation, has decided that confession, there's no more efficacy and there's no more need for it. They just changed their priest. Now they're going to social media, and they're taking what used to be confession, and they've privatized their own confessional and their own little social media landscape, and made the audience the judge. And it's the validation of people saying enough kind of gets them to this point where they think, hey, listen, enough people like what I've done, so how bad can it really be? And then they have sort of absolved themselves.
I mean, you had it, I think, on the nose, and one of your lines is the smartphone pulpit has replaced the confessional for far too many. And there is, and you use the example of Jesse Ridgway. That was a big story online. He and his wife, and I'm not familiar with it, I don't follow him, but he and his wife were pregnant and were excited about it, and then found out their child had Down syndrome, and they aborted. And they just said that online like it was nothing. And they really didn't even apologize. I mean, even when they got some blowback, they were surprised by that. And they kind of tried to make it okay. I mean, how does that fit into all of this? What does that kind of show us?
That was wild. I mean, I couldn't believe their reaction. They seemed to expect the internet to function as a confessional, offering unconditional absolution. Instead, what they got was the crowd is a terrible substitute for mercy. I mean, and, what struck me the most wasn't that they publicly celebrated an abortion, which is essentially what they did. I mean, they put out there into the world that they were excited about their pregnancy. However, some testing had shown the child may have Down syndrome, and they chose their own convenience of life over this life they were bringing in, their own lives, into bringing this new life into the world. And it was that they genuinely seemed surprised that not everyone celebrated with them.
Yeah.
It invites the entire internet, essentially the whole world, into one of the most morally contested religious, social issues imaginable. You can't be shocked when not everyone applauds with you. That floored me, that their reaction was so genuinely pushed back that people weren't jumping on board saying, oh, thank God you aborted that child. What a wonderful couple you were. It was horrific.
Yeah. And I think it points out, too, that as they tried to explain why they did it, it really wasn't from a stance of penitence. It was a stance of trying to get people to agree with them. At least that was my read on it. How did you see it?
Well, so their initial reaction was, they took a couple days, and then they posted another video. And what it was essentially a doubling down of the worries and fears that they had. There was no penitence for what they'd done. As in, even mentioning the child as this loss is something that we're grieving now to the point of, excruciating emotional and spiritual pain. No, it was just, hey, look, guys, this is why we did it. We have a certain lifestyle we'd like to maintain. And, a child who potentially has Down syndrome would have put a real crimp in that. Why aren't you getting on board? And again, so when I decided to write the article, that was actually, I think, the catalyst that took a match and turned it into a roaring fire, because I couldn't fathom the idea of somebody being shocked that the entire world wasn't celebrating something horrific with them.
But John, don't you think that what you're talking about here has always gone on, but it's been a private thing? So like when we want to do something wrong, we talk to people we know that will agree with us. We don't we don't want to be challenged. But now that whole thing is taking place in a very public forum. I mean, is that how you see it?
Oh, I see that. I think what it is, it's when you take something that you've done and you put it out there into the public, as you just mentioned quite rightly. For the longest time, you turn to a trusted friend, a family member, someone that you know is going to give you not just words that you want to hear to make you feel better in the moment, but is going to tell you something or help you through this in a manner that's going to actually, benefit you. Now it's gone out into the public, and I think what it is we are so used to our lives being lived kind of within two, 1 foot in the real world, 1 foot in the digital world, that once you put something even as egregious as abortion out into the digital world, you are expecting like-minded folks to fight that fight for you.
Right.
Meaning, if you're to look for if you're trying to find peace from your comment section, good luck. But there will always be somebody out there who will carry water for you, or who will fight for you just because they enjoy the idea of fighting online.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we put it into the public, we're bleeding the essential core of conversation and mentorship out and diffusing it amongst potentially millions of people, and then basically just kind of letting it soak out there.
Yeah.
If you put one drop of food coloring in a cup of water, you'll see a lot of that food coloring. But if you drop it in a lake, you don't see anything, and you don't have to worry about it anymore.
That's a good analogy, and I love your quote from St. Catherine of Siena. That's a great quote. Cry out with 100,000 tongues, I see that the world is rotten because of silence. Wow, that is an amazing quote. And John, I could talk to you forever about this. You have so many wonderful things in here about validation replacing the sacrament of reconciliation. I could talk to you more, and I'll see if I can get you on my other show. Thanks for being with us today.
You let me know. I'll be there.
All right. Thanks, John. I have a good week ahead.
Thank you very much.
Our
you
guest,
as well. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Our guest today, John Melnikoff, a theology teacher in Connecticut, BA in Religious Studies, an MA in Christian Leadership, parishioner at St. Jude's. And this is just really an article for us, I think, to chew on. Seeking absolution from the crowd. Confession in the age of algorithm. You can find it in Crisis Magazine. Excellent.
And before we go real quick,
Yeah.
Pat, who was that quote, I see the world is rotten because of silence?
St. Catherine of Siena.
Oh, Catherine of
Amazing.
Siena. Love that.
Yeah,
Nicely
great
done.
stuff.